Welcome back to the program. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Newsnight. We're here with ANC Party Leader Musalia Mudavadi, and I'm seeing a lot of your tweets, your questions, also via 22422 SMS line. Let me start by looking at a few of them. Let me read a tweet here from, a text actually, from Stephen from Mombasa. He says, why does the ANC Party Leader complain in churches about the high cost of fuel or living instead of mobilizing his National Assembly members to air such concerns in Parliament if they really mean well? Can they introduce a Ward Development Fund, for example? Okay, I'll pose that to him, but these are your tweets as well. Let's put them up. First one, this one is from Engineer Jamalos. You say Mudavadi is riding on a narrative that neither Raila nor Ruto will achieve the constitutionally required threshold of 50% plus one. So with his votes, he believes he'll be the kingmaker in the runoff. Okay, we're going to hear from him on that one. What else do we have? Polycarp HRP is distressed about the state of our politics. You say, I see no change. All I see is racist politicians. I pity my fellow Kenyans. Presidency, or the presidency, is no longer a symbol of national unity. Every tribe have their presidential candidates. Some claim that you can win, that you can't win unless they endorse you. Our state of politics. Mwalimu Amonga says only Musalia Mudavadi can handle the current national debate on the hiked fuel prices in the middle of an overstretched economy and the COVID-19 pandemic. He did it before when he was finance minister. I think we have one or two more. Henry M., you say, does Mudavadi have a running mate? Would he consider a woman? What does he consider the best attributes for a DP? And what roles would he or she sufficiently discharge? I think let's start it from there, and I'll take a few more towards the end. You're looking at a runoff scenario, is what one viewer believes tonight. Help clarify that.
Let us be realistic. That can only come out of the outcome of the election. It is possible there could be a runoff scenario. Perhaps it may not happen. I can say the jury is out on that one. So that is not the determinant of why I am offering myself to be the President of the Republic of Kenya. I am offering myself because I believe I have something to offer and I want to serve the Kenyan people. And my focus is to rejuvenate the economy.
And we're going to talk about rejuvenating the economy shortly. What do you think are your chances? Has your team done a poll? What would a Musalia Mudavadi presidency bring out at the end in terms of sort of percentages? This viewer seems to believe that for you it's a calculated strategy.
I think he's jumping the gun. We are in the process of engaging in mass voter registration, starting in October. People will go out to campaign and put their messages out there. We don't even know how many other presidential candidates are going to be on the ballot at the end of the day. So I think I can only advise him that let us wait and see, and he can root either for me or he can root for a presidential candidate of his choice.
One viewer here wants to know whether you have a running mate. Would you consider a woman?
That decision has not yet been made. And there's nothing wrong in considering a woman, by the way. Women have produced very good leaders. We have seen it in other jurisdictions.
And at least 49% of our population as well
is women. And frankly speaking, there have been more dedicated voters than the men over time. We have seen this. So if we want to move forward, let us make sure that we also bring out the best in our women.
Can you respond to that video by nominated member of Parliament Godfrey Osotsi, that you have members in your camp who campaign with you during the day, but at night are supporting UDA and Deputy President William Ruto? Is there any truth to that,
I don't think we want to go into that kind of speculation. And in any case, he is always speaking when he's on the other side of the fence. So let's leave it at that.
You do not want to even... No. Is that something your team would be concerned about? It's the season of defections. No, you know that yourself.
It's not worth our airtime.
It's not worth our airtime this evening?
Yes.
Okay. I want to take you back to the discussion on the economy. That's where we began this, and that's where I want to hear from you at this time. One viewer saying that we've had a lot from you on the economy, in churches, in other venues, but could your parliamentarians have done more? I know you touched on it at the beginning, But is there anything more your members of parliament could have done to stop us? And one viewer actually asked this evening, is it on record that ANC members of parliament stood in the way of the Finance Bill 2018?
If you go back, quite a number of them did not, because we talked about it and they acknowledged that there was going to be a problem. All right? But let me put it this way. We have to talk to the Kenyan people. We have to send messages. We have to tell them what we see and then be able to communicate and find common solutions. That is how it is. So whether, and we must appreciate that we are living in COVID times. So the way we can communicate is limited. It's not the normal way where we can have the normal rallies. People's lives matter, so we have to be careful. The Ministry of Health guidelines. So our communication must be more centered around the media to relay our concerns and messages. So let me put it this way, that we have done something. Let me give you the example. Maybe we'll come to it. But in the issue of public debt, and remember I highlighted the fact that the issue of petroleum prices is a consequence of a bigger problem. All right? And that bigger problem is the huge public debt that we are now finding ourselves in. Do you know a member of ANC, Honorable Sako Bunyasi, the MP for Nambale, has put in place a bill which has gone through the first reading. It has taken months before they put it on the table so that we can discuss, Kenyans can discuss and find a better way of managing our public debt. All right? So it's not just about talking. There are practical examples of what an ANC legislator is expected to do.
So I want to take you forward to September 2022, hypothetically. You begin to settle down in State House. Let's say Kenyans have given you the approval. And your Treasury Cabinet Secretary, whoever that will be, comes and tells you, Mr. President, there's no money in the coffers to run government. What do you do?
It's a very difficult time. I've been through it myself. All right?
Give us the context.
In the context of the early 90s, 1993, I took over at the Treasury and literally there was no money. We had just enough foreign exchange to bring in a consignment of petroleum. So obviously, you would have to focus. You would have to engage the local community, business community, investors. You had to engage the international community, and it was protracted. It was not easy. And I'm here to tell the Kenyans that let them not be cheated. There's going to be a lot of pain. A lot of pain.
Is that what candidates should be telling Kenyans? Because
yes,
they are promising us.
You see, it's easy to say, I will do this, I'll do that.
They are promising us
but
Bora Uchumi, rural economy, bottom up, you see, as the silver bullet. What are you saying this evening?
Mimi, I'm telling you, my brother, it's going to be painful. And of course, my slogan is Uchumi Bora na pesa mfukoni. All right? The message here is this. We have to focus there because that is where the pressure is. We are going through high taxation because the government is going through distress financially. That is why the easy target is the petroleum products, to try and rein in cash quickly to deal with our problem. So as a Kenyan, I have to tell them that it's going to be difficult. There's hope, no doubt about it, but it's going to be a journey that has some pain along the way. And the sooner we tell Kenyans that, and the sooner Kenyans realize that it is important to put in leaders that will be realistic, the better for them.
I want us to advance this hypothesis a bit further.
Yes.
Your Treasury CS then tells you, we don't have time for all the things you're talking about. We need money today. You either borrow more or you tax more. What do you choose?
Let me put it this way. What are we going through now?
I think we're in a bit of both. High taxes, increased borrowing.
You know, all I'm saying is that let us learn to cut our clothes.
But I want to hear what you would do as a president.
First
right
of
now,
all,
you're an aspirant.
First of all, I would have to tell the Kenyans the reality. Kenyans must know the truth. Are we broke or not broke? So we must own up to Kenyans, the reality. So in my position, in September 2022, I would tell Kenyans that this is where the economic situation is. Because after that, then you can now pronounce your raft of measures. There will be more understanding because you would have told them the truth. All right? But if we embark on a mission where we are promising everything, you know, when you tell somebody there's going to be this kind of economic model or that economic model, we are not in an economic class. This is serious business. The country is broke. We are overborrowing. And that is why taxes are high. Let me give you an example. The economic survey that came out, okay, and the statistics are there, will show you that after rebasing of the economy, agriculture is now contributing 22% to a GDP as opposed to 33%. And then, financially, both the national budget and the county budgets have only produced a total of, have only been allocated 3.2% of the budget. That is agriculture. That is where women are employed in large numbers. We have to change these things, my brother. When you say credit has grown, all right, by 18% in the market, but then you find 50% of that 18% is being borrowed by the government. And only 9%, precisely 9.8% of that 18% is going to the private sector. Now, these are statistics coming out of the government itself.
Musalia Mudavadi, this evening, I think there is no doubt that you have a grasp of the hole that we are in as a country.
Yes.
But recently, the governor of Meru posed a question to you. He said, if you really want Kenyans' votes, and that time he was referring to Mount Kenya region, but I guess you could spread this across the country, don't wait for 2022 if you will become the president. Why don't you, if you want to uplift the lives of Kenyans, you know, mobilize your MPs to move to parliament, to increase funds for the counties, or to slow down this high fuel price situation? He's saying we want to see your movement now. Well,
parliament has just been opened. A petition is being put in place. I think we've told our MPs this time, be on the forefront. Speak to these issues. We are giving you an example. I've given you the example of the debt. All right? Maura, let me repeat this. All right? Parliament has been doing nothing about insisting on the transparency of debt, about handling the risk or assessing the risk involved in the borrowing. They have just been simply adjusting the ceiling to suit the executive. The Treasury proposes, they agree. The Treasury proposes, they agree. Don't you think there's a hidden hand in delaying the bill by Sakwa Bunyasi because it is going to demand and call for more transparency?
Who do you suspect who do you suspect is controlling that hidden hand?
Well, I think the people who are keen on borrowing without question are the ones who may be delaying this process.
Is it Treasury? Is it the leadership of the Jubilee Party? Is it the executive?
Treasury is the one that would bring forward and say they want to borrow. And I think they are worried. All right? They are worried because a lot of questions are going to be asked. And I stand here and I also say, just not about Parliament, I also say, even the media You know, you have dwelt so much on what Musalia says at a particular place or at a church or at a rally. But how many people really want to look at the content of what I have said? Is there collective guilt?
You've been misquoted?
Do you think there's some collective guilt here on Kenyans, the people who should highlight the critical issues that affect and are causing petrol prices to go up, are making life difficult for Kenyans? All these things have not been highlighted appropriately. They're always given second banner or second page in the dailies. But Musalia doing a jig becomes the front picture. I mean,
I can't speak for all media houses, yes, but if you have a specific complaint, I think...
No, it's not a complaint. It's an observation. All right? They have freedom to do what they have to do, but it's an observation. Is there collective guilt in institutions and individuals that are supposed to bring certain things to the light? Is there a conspiracy of silence?
There's no silence on this program. We ask tough questions. Let me speak for where I sit.
So I want to speak. This time I want to speak for Kenyans, the ordinary Kenyans. Let us tell them the true state of debt and how it has a ripple effect on their cost of living.
So what do you do, and I'm told we do need to take a break, but let me still get this one in before we take that break. What do you do about the big infrastructure projects? The ones that may not be completed by the time a new administration is in place?
I think the reality here is this. Where projects have been started, I think it's important they're completed. All right? Because you don't want a lot of white elephants. By the way, there are a lot of projects.
Road projects across the country?
Across the country that also have stalled. Not just roads, but different kind of... The dams saga, you know it. Where corruption completely messed up the process and the dams have not been built, but commitments have been made on external loans. All right, those exist. When I was in Meru, there were concerns there that certain roads which were started have not been moving. So this is a crisis. So moving forward, we will have to sit as a nation, involving all stakeholders, and say that to get out of the dangerous situation we are in, let us prioritize, let us move away from this excessive deficit financing and start thinking about how we can live within our means.
And you don't see Jubilee being able to do that in the remaining few months?
Let's be realistic. In the few months that are there, the budget proposals are already on the table. It's going to be very difficult for them to be able to turn around the situation. And that is why salvation lies in making the right choices for 2022.
Although some would say if they wanted to, they could do a few things. We've seen other measures in which things have been turned around very quickly. But we can talk a bit about that on the other side. Okay, yes. You're watching Newsnight. I am seeing a lot of your messages. I want to tackle a few of them on the other side of this break. Let's take a short break. We come back. Some of you are asking, when are we going to see Musalia Mudavadi in Northeastern, in the Rift Valley? Not just in Western or Central Kenya. I'm going to hear from him on that and a few more questions at the other or on the other side of this break. You're watching Newsnight. Keep sending in your messages. We'll be right back with the final part of this interview.